Hello, this is the simpler and more effective labour management for financial year 17 video for GMs. Just to let you know that your RBMs will be receiving a similar video just with a little bit more RBM relevant information for them. But really this is to give you a good summary of the changes and additions for PPS coming in the next week. So one of our biggest opportunities as a company is clearly sales, but also profitable sales, so controlling those sales. And so it's really important from the off, the new financial year, we get our planning absolutely bob on. So planning effectively, planning our sales, planning our costs, and planning in PPS. That's going to turn into a contract each week, so a contracted sales and labour number with each of your RBMs. And you should then build that contracted sales number and labour spend into PPS, hugging those graphs as effectively and accurately as possible. Then every week you should have 2 weeks at all times worth of rotas on your display boards for your teams. And lots of you already do this, but if you don't, you might want to think about sharing those on social media platforms, so WhatsApp, private Facebook pages, just so people know when they're working and you can keep people as informed as possible. And then that turns into a delivered plan. But obviously sometimes things change, and some of you will be in businesses that get last minute bookings on a regular basis. And so yes, it's a fixed plan, but if you do have a large booking or a sales anomaly, then it's just a simple phone call to the RBM and recontract that sales and labour number. So I'm going to take X amount of pounds more and I'm going to need X amount of pounds to deliver it. Do you agree? RBM agrees. That then gets built back into PPS against the graphs and goes back to be a delivered plan. And then that cycle carries on every week, and we go through that planning, contracting, building and displaying, delivering process. And so just quickly, what happens through that planning process. So in the weeks plus 8 to 5, the GM will agree a sales forecast and contracted labour spend and plans with RBMs, and will adjust that daily sales forecast on PPS within the weekly target. And so they'll build that rota to fit that contracted sales and labour plan. Then the RBM will adjust the sales plan and contracted labour spend in the target file. So they're going to be using a SharePoint file, inputting those numbers they agree with you, and those numbers will then be automatically input into PPS for 8 weeks every time. And then display the PPS generated rota. So it's really important that every plan is planned in PPS. It's not on an Excel spreadsheet, it's not written, it's done within PPS, and you've always got 2 weeks displays for your team. And then final changes can be agreed by exception, as we said on the last one. So big bookings needs to be conversations with RBMs and properly planned in the system. And then you guys then with your teams deliver against that plan in the live week, and then everyone reviews against the contracted plan that was agreed with the RBM. And then just so you know that the way the salaries work is they will go automatically from PeopleNet. So as long as PeopleNet is accurate, the salary load will be every Tuesday and Friday loaded into the system. So in the live week, the most up-to-date salary change will be from the last Friday. So if there's any salary changes within the week, they wouldn't be amended within PeopleNet. And so the forecast and contract spend is fixed on that blue line, so week plus 2. And then the plan and rota can be changed prior to the blue line, and after the blue line, the plan and rota changes are strictly by exception. So the idea of flex has disappeared. There is no such thing as flex. If your sales increase slightly throughout the week, you wouldn't expect to be spending more money as a result. If you have a specific event, that's when you have that individual conversation and replan with your RBM. So what will my PPS dashboards look like? They will be changing slightly. So all of this will be on one page. So everything I show you in the next 2 slides, that will just be a scroll down on one screen. So plan, pub and district weekly sales and labour. This will show your sales plan for the week, your target sales, which should match, because ultimately, if I get my clicker up, these figures here should be the same. So the manager plan and the RBM plan should fit with that contracted sales plan that you've agreed together, and therefore these numbers here should be as close to 0 as possible because you've planned against that number. The same goes here for the planned spend. So if you've agreed a planned spend, the contracted cash spend should be the same as the planned cash spend, and then we should be as close to 0, a few pounds out potentially over here. And then the planned scheduled accuracy report is something slightly new. So you'll see you've got a percentage of schedule accuracy over here, and they're rag rated red, amber, green, or just amber and green in this scenario. So over 80% is seen as a good, relatively accurate rota. Anything under 80% and above 70% will be amber, so there's probably some work to do in terms of improving that. And then below 70, particularly below 60, means that you haven't got a hugely accurate plan and could really have a look at that. So this literally, in simple terms, is just built off how accurately your plans hug those graphs within PPS. So the closer you get to those, the higher your accuracy rate will be. And your RBMs have got a shortcut now on their dashboard so they can see those graphs. And so as you scroll down that page, you'll see the actual versus planned pub daily sales and labour report. So this is after the fact. How did we do against our delivery? So this report will show the daily sales take, the variance to planned sales, spend on labour, and the variance to plan. And your plan should be within your contracted spend, so delivering the plan will deliver the contracted number. And ultimately, this is what GMs and RBMs will be held accountable for delivering. And then actual pub weekly sales and labour report. So this is for the weekly version of the rolled up version of this report above. And this report will show past week performance and display variance to target sales and contract labour. So you'll be able to quickly get a theme from this report as to how accurate you've been in previous weeks. So there's a quick slide here just in terms of if you need some support or help, where can you go? So anything technical, you'd need to go to the IT help desk, and then lots of other things are held on the PPS homepage already. So detailed dashboard guides, change request forms, detailed explanation of the salary cost process, and then labour standards packs will show you the specific brand standards for your particular brand, and you might have a look at those and just make sure that you're accurate against them. And then ultimately, if there's real issues with your sales numbers, that should be a conversation with your RBM at the first point, who should be able to get some answers for you. I've also attached some slides for you on this deck, so you can have a look through these at your own leisure. You can have a look at this video as many times as you like. But I hope it's been helpful, and good luck with the changes, and Happy New Year for next week. All the best.